Hey YouTube, how you doing? I'm doing a little voiceover because when I recorded this video, the audio got all messed up. I was using a Bluetooth microphone, and anyhow, I made some wine here, made using Doing It Cheap's method of using Concord grape juice or Welch's grape juice, frozen concentrate, sugar, and yeast. And this is stuff I made, I don't know, a month and a half ago. There were 4 bottles. This is the last one left because it's really tasty. And it's been sitting in the fridge. That's why it's got condensation on it. And what you see there is a homemade racking rig that I made. And I made it out of some clear tubing and a hacksaw blade of all things because it was stiff. And because it would sit up off the bottom of the bottle, and I used zip ties to fasten the tubing to the hacksaw blade. It's very ghetto, but it works so well, as I'm about to demonstrate. I just realized that my lighting had gone off, so I went and turned on my lighting. Not sure if it made any difference or not. The tubing doesn't go all the way to the bottom of the hacksaw blade there, and I do that just so it does not take what's laying on the bottom of the jar. That's what we're doing, is we're siphoning the good liquid off the top of the stuff, and we're leaving all the sediment in the bottom, which is dead yeast and solids. I'm just starting a little siphon here and letting her rip. This ain't fancy. Everything's clean and sanitized with bleach water, but I don't get crazy with it. And we're just letting it drip slowly in. You'll see people that put the tube all the way to the bottom of the jug on the right there, and I don't bother with it. I don't worry about getting oxygen in there. The jar on the right, jug on the right, you'll notice is etched. The glass is etched. When my wife and I got married back in 2013, she had me etch a bunch of glassware for the wedding, for the ceremony and whatnot. And since I was doing it at the time, I had these glass jugs. Was checking out making moonshine possibly, and so I decided to etch 1 or 2 of these jugs, and I gave one of the etched ones away, at least one of them, but this is the one I kept for myself. And I'm just babbling basically while it siphons from the left to the right, and it's a slow but sure process. And I just use the pan on the left to elevate the jug I'm siphoning out of. And sometimes I'll actually make wine in these jugs, and then I'll rack it into a different container and clean the container and then rack it back into the glass. And yes, again, the jug on the left has been refrigerated. I like to drink my wine refrigerated, but also I don't add any sulfides or anything like that to kill the yeast after fermentation. I just rely on the cold basically to kill all the yeast off. Once the siphoning gets down lower, I like to tilt the bottle like that, and to just get the last drop, just tilt it gently, and most of the sediment will stick to the bottom. It's very viscous. I'm just wiping the condensation off so I can see and you can see inside. And coming up here in a second, I'll show you the sediment at the bottom of the jug. I just Empty out the tube, and there's the sediment at the bottom. It's all dead yeast and grape solids and whatever else that was in that grape juice. And hopefully the jug on the right will eventually get clear. Now, whether it lasts long enough for me to find out if it's clear or not, that's a different story, because it's pretty tasty stuff. So there's the clearly racked wine in the hand etched jar. And I did mine with chemical etching, and I just bought stencils, and it was pretty easy to do. Off to the left there in the top left corner, you see another jug of wine that I just put up with a homemade airlock. I have a video about that coming up here pretty soon, but unfortunately some of its audio got messed up, and I have to redo some voiceovers. Right now, I just decided, since I have the tester I whipped out there is a hydrometer, and this is a graduated cylinder, and all I'm going to do is check the sugar content of this current wine. You can't really tell the proof of wine after you've made it. You kind of have to know the sugar content you started with and the sugar content after you're finished fermenting, and then you can calculate the proof. I just spun the hydrometer there when I put it in the graduated cylinder, so the bubbles sling off of it if there are any bubbles. And I'm reading the sugar content, and I don't quite remember what that sugar content was. And I don't know if the video's messing up for you, but it's messing up for me as I watch it right now. I'm probably babbling about the sugar content and the proper way to read the hydrometer, and about the meniscus, which is the U shape. When you read a cylinder like that, you always read from the bottom of the U shape. So anyway, that's my video about racking wine, and I'll have a video up about making the wine you see up in the top left here soon. But otherwise, thanks guys. Thanks for watching, and consider subscribing. Thanks.